This is Rock and Roll English. Real people, real English.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of Rock and Roll English. Today we have a romantic episode because obviously tomorrow is Valentine's Day. So Dan and I thought we would talk about Valentine's Day. Just to warn you, Dan again starts telling a very boring story. Luckily, this time it's not too long, so I didn't have to cut it out. But the story involves a couple in Scotland, and the surname of the couple is Weir. So he refers to them as the Weirs, okay? That's just to help you understand his boring story. But also listening to his story will help you understand that Dan is a boring person. So anyway, enjoy the show. Dan the man, how are you today?
I'm good. You?
All the better now I am listening to your slow and boring voice.
Sure.
Absolutely. So I have a question for you, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing tomorrow? Obviously today is Monday, so what are you doing tomorrow?
Nothing. And I know what you're getting at as well.
Oh, I know what you're getting at. We are less than 1 minute into this podcast, Dan, and already you are with rock and roll vocabulary. He means there, I know what you are suggesting. What am I getting at then, Dan? What am I suggesting?
We both know what you're suggesting.
So tomorrow is what day, Dan?
Valentine's Day.
And you have nothing to do, is that correct?
That is correct.
That is a shame, Dan.
Do you have anything to do?
Well, I'm currently deciding which one of my 500 offers to accept from women all over the world, actually.
You're going to Skype your mum, aren't you?
Yeah, probably Skype her, yeah. But that's out of choice, Dan. That's out of choice, okay?
I know. Don't worry. I'm not judging you.
Oh, yeah, don't judge me. Please don't. Do you know anything about the history of Valentine's Day?
I know Al Capone murdered a lot of people on Valentine's Day.
Oh, is that the Valentine's Day massacre?
Correct, finally.
Oh, I did not know that. Oh, fantastic, Dan. Well, I've got some other theories because I've done some research on this because obviously I'm a professional and, so I've done some research into the show because that's obviously today's topic. So we have two theories, apparently, Valentine's Day. They are very contrasting, one being very romantic and one not being very romantic. Mm-hmm. So the first one is Emperor Claudius didn't want Roman men to marry during the war because he thought single men made better soldiers. So obviously you and I, Dan, are very good soldiers.
I've always thought that.
If there is a war, then call me and Dan, okay?
Yeah.
Because we are single, so we will murder people.
And we're available tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So, anyway, he banned the people from getting married, but then Bishop Valentine, and a bishop is just, let's say, a very important priest, did the weddings in secret. So that is why this is the first theory. Mm-hmm. But which is obviously quite romantic because, he thought love is great, so let's do the wedding. But the second one, do you want to hear the second one, Dan?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it says that derives from Lupercalia, which apparently, I'm sure my pronunciation of that is terrible, but it was a Roman festival, and the festival involved men taking women and taking their clothes off and spanking them. And do you want to help us out when I say spank, Dan? What is a spank?
To playfully hit a woman on the bum.
Yeah, so with your hand to literally hit a woman. Well, I mean, you can spank anyone. Like when I was a child. You can
spank anyone. I'd only spank a woman, but
anyway, so the men spanked the women, hoping it would increase their fertility.
I'm going to go with that one, to be honest.
I don't know what's so romantic about taking women, taking their clothes off and spanking them on the arse to improve their fertility.
You should ask your listeners
Yeah, well, if anyone knows, please, or if anyone thinks that is romantic, please let me know. The one thing I want to note here is notice I said spank their arse and not their ass like the Americans do. Okay, this is an English show, and that is what we are speaking. But Dan, I've got some good news for you. We currently have over 250 likes on Facebook. So you are basically a celebrity now. So you could actually receive many cards in the post tomorrow on Valentine's Day from your fans. What do you think the probability of that is?
Not good, I would say.
Well, it's going to be difficult because none of them know your address, but or even what you look like. But you never know, Dan. It could happen.
It could happen. It won't, but...
Well, there is always hope, Dan. There's always hope. So speaking of cards, actually, I've got another random fact about Valentine's Day. Apparently, the Italian city of Verona receives 1,000 letters every Valentine's Day addressed to Juliet.
Yeah, I've heard this.
My question is, who exactly do they write the letter to? Like, to Verona? What is the address? Just Verona? Like any building in Verona, or just to Verona?
Well, I imagine it's like writing to Father Christmas, isn't it? You just hope it's going to arrive.
Yeah, but
that actually did happen. So there was this Scottish couple who won the Euro Millions about 5 years ago, and they won 162 million.
Yeah.
And the Royal Mail, were
the Royal Mail is the company that does the post in England.
They were complaining because they were receiving thousands of letters just addressed to the Weirs in Glasgow, people asking for money, as if they were writing to Father Christmas.
Is that connected? Oh, as if they were writing to Father Christmas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but at least they probably had an actual address. I don't think Verona has an address.
Well, it's the Weirs in Glasgow. Glasgow is a big place. But I don't know if it was Glasgow. It was somewhere like that. It was somewhere in Scotland.
Thanks again for your input, Dan. That was very interesting to know. Yeah. A story which you don't even know the facts to, you thought you would share with all of us. So thanks very much.
You're welcome.
I wanted to actually bring up... What does bring up mean, Dan?
Talk about.
Exactly. I wanted to bring up a story about Verona, actually. About when Dan and I were supposed to go to Verona. I was living in Rome, travelled to Verona, which obviously is not very near. Spent a lot of money on the train and hotel. And then I receive a message from Dan saying, "Hi mate, I've missed my flight. I'm not coming. Have fun."
I didn't say it like that. I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm still mortified that happened.
So mortified is a way to say basically extremely embarrassed. Yeah, well, I was there for 3 days walking around Verona on my own. Maybe I could have helped them, sort the letters that they receive for Juliet.
Yeah.
So another random fact about Valentine's Day is, do you know who apparently receives the most Valentine's Day cards?
I've got no idea who. It's not me.
Well, we're talking about a profession here, like a job. Do you think doctors, nurses, lawyers?
Teachers.
Correct. Yeah. So I'm expecting, obviously, as I am a teacher, to receive, more Valentine's Day cards than Juliet, but I don't know if that is true. On the list, though, we have teachers, mothers, wives, things like this, and then pets.
Pets?
Exactly my reaction. It says 3% of owners will get Valentine's Day cards and gifts for their pets.
Well, they shouldn't be allowed near animals then, should they?
They should not be allowed near animals. You had a dog in the past, I remember, Dan. Did you ever buy... Was it a he or a her?
It was a he. You know it was a he.
I don't know that. Did you ever buy him a Valentine's Day card?
No, of course not.
Did he ever buy you one?
No, of course not. He probably wanted to, though.
Oh, yeah. I bet he did. Okay, but let's just now move into a hypothetical situation, Dan. In a crazy world where you might have a girlfriend, what would you buy her? I know it's impossible to think that you would have a girlfriend, but
I hate Valentine's Day, and I hate the I hate the fuss. There's nothing worse for me than if you're at dinner with a girl and someone comes around and says, "Do you want to buy a rose?" Because
which happens a lot here.
Yeah, you're in a
Italy.
terrible situation. So either you say yes and look like that guy that's trying to impress the girl too much, or you say no and basically saying you don't deserve a rose.
Well, actually, that is the case in England, but I think in Italy, when you buy, when these people come around and ask you if you want to buy a rose, it's considered tacky, which means sort of cheap and embarrassing. So that's generally not.
That's exactly my problem. That's why when it happens over here, you can't win.
Yeah, exactly. So we've spoken about what you would buy someone for Valentine's Day, but now let's talk about presents that you have received on Valentine's Day. And I know everyone thinks it's impossible that Dan has ever had a girlfriend, but I can stand witness and say that in the past, Dan did actually have, well, more than one girlfriend.
2.
Oh, blimey.
I know.
Okay, so what have you ever received a good present on Valentine's Day?
Probably the best present I've ever received on Valentine's Day was a pair of football boots I bought myself.
Is this a true story?
This is a true story. It's a true story.
But did you buy them because you thought it's Valentine's Day today, so I will buy a pair of football boots? And by the way, football boots is what we call, let's say, the shoes you play football in.
Yeah.
Was it because it was Valentine's Day, or did you just need some new football boots?
I think it was a bit of both.
A bit of both.
I don't know. I can't really remember. All I remember was it was Valentine's Day and I was treating myself to some new boots. What about you?
Yeah, I've got a couple of good stories about receiving gifts on Valentine's Day. The best one was, I mean, I was very young. I was probably 15, something like that. And I had spent about, I don't know, £50, which was a lot of money for a 15-year-old. I don't know, I got her some perfume and chocolates, I don't know. And she made like cassette of her singing love songs.
What?
so I gave her like this, really expensive perfume, thinking, what am I going to get? And it was just a thing of her singing like, I will always love you. And I had to obviously pretend, which is obviously to fake, I was really happy. I was like, oh yeah, this is amazing. Obviously when she left, I had like an Oasis CD I could listen to, or her just singing like, in a shit voice, stupid love songs. I was like, yeah, that's great, thanks.
How long did the relationship last after that?
Good point. I can't really remember, but I don't think too long. I think, that was when I started to understand that this
how the world works.
Yeah, exactly. And the other one, this again, I was really young, about 18, 19. Like, this girl knew that I hated, and even today, I hate rings. I never wear a ring, even now. And she got me the present. I opened it. It was a ring. And she said, I know you hate rings, but I just thought this one's really nice. So at first I thought, okay, I'm going to have to do the same here. I had experience of pretending I liked presents. So I was like, yeah, it's great. Yeah. She said, no, look, if you don't like it, please just tell me. Like, please, I won't be offended.
But that's a fake offer.
Well, this is what I found out later, because I thought, well, I don't really like it. She's saying she won't be offended. So I said to her, well, it's a nice ring, but I just don't really wear rings. And then she started crying immediately.
God.
And then I had to say, but this ring is amazing. Oh, now I've put it on. Oh, this is really good.
Did she believe you?
I'm not sure. I only used to wear it when I was with her. But again, the relationship didn't last much much longer than that.
I always think, why would you buy someone something
That they
It's like someone
specifically
buying-
say, I don't
Yeah.
like this.
Like, I clearly don't wear hats. Why would you buy me a hat? To me, it doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. In fact, this is going off topic. This was a birthday present I received from a girl once, and she got me tickets to the opera. And I thought, well, you know I don't like the opera. So when it's your birthday, I'm going to buy you tickets to the football
The
stadium.
big game.
Exactly. But the relationship didn't last that long, so I never got the opportunity. But obviously, so we're going to be alone tomorrow, Dan. But it's not all bad news, because I've found out that there is the day after is a day called Singles Awareness Day. Did you know about this?
No, but it sounds like a load of rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many problems with this. Number one is it says Single Awareness Day. And so anyone that doesn't know the word awareness, it means to so that you know about the subject. So let's say they create knowledge about this.
It's like Heart Disease Awareness Day.
This is exactly what I was thinking. Like, we have Cancer Awareness Day,
Yeah.
Heart Disease Awareness Day. So people find out things about these diseases.
Maybe it is a disease.
Singles Awareness Day. I just sort of think, what the fuck is that? And then what is even more ridiculous? So it's obviously Singles Awareness Day, SAD. So when it's like an acronym, it spells the word sad.
Pathetic.
Exactly. So I don't really know what the positives.
It must be a joke.
I don't know. No, it's
It
not.
must
It's
be a
not. There's a
joke.
proper website. I've looked at it, and it's just completely ludicrous. And then it says it's got some suggested activities for Singles Awareness Day.
I've got my Singles Awareness Day well and truly sorted. I don't need any help on what
Well,
I'm gonna be
actually,
doing.
you say this. There's something that you actually did on Singles Awareness Day. So you can send yourself flowers or buy yourself a present. So when you bought those football boots, you essentially were creating Singles Awareness Day.
I didn't want to tell you this, Martin, but I created Singles Awareness Day.
And the other thing I thought was very funny was apparently you can go to a party, like an SAD party, a sad party, Singles Awareness Day.
Any party is good for me. I
Well,
don't
the
care.
thing is, though, you can only go if you want to be single. So if you go to the party and you meet a woman, I could just imagine them saying, "No, get out. You need to want to be single to come to this party."
Well, maybe we should go. Maybe we should see what happens.
Well, I think you might be right there, Dan. I also have another study that says that very intelligent people are actually single, but we don't have time to talk about that at the moment. So that is what we're going to talk about next time, Dan. So we can find out the reasons why we are single, because obviously we're so intelligent. Does that sound good?
Can't wait. That sounds great.
I can't wait. Well, anyway, Dan, I'll see you on Thursday, but I'll probably also see you at the party at Singles Awareness Day in the meantime.
Yeah. Buy yourself some football boots. You'll make yourself feel a lot better. Okay.
Thanks for the advice, Dan. I'll see you soon.
See you later.
So that was Dan and I talking about Valentine's Day. And as I said at the end of the show, on Thursday we'll be talking about why single people are more intelligent. But before that, let's look at some of the vocabulary used in this episode. So if you remember at the beginning of the show, I was asking Dan what he was doing tomorrow. And he said to me, "I know what you're getting at," because he knew what I was suggesting. So he said, "I know what you're getting at." Another word was spank, when we were talking about the Roman men that spanked the women. And remember, when you spank someone, it's when you hit them on the bum. Generally, this is used in a sexual way, so I wouldn't use the word too much, but, you know, it's important to know. Another word was bishop. A bishop is just, as I said in the show, an important priest. I'm not really sure how else to describe it. A good phrasal verb that I used during the show was bring up. When I brought up the story about when Dan left me in Verona. because obviously we were not talking about that story. So I brought it up and started talking about a new topic. A fantastic word Dan used was mortified when we were talking about what happened in Verona, and he said, I'm still mortified about that. Like, he's still extremely embarrassed, and he should be, because let me tell you, I had a terrible time thanks to him. Another really good word was tacky, when I was talking about buying a rose for a girl in Italy is considered tacky, which generally means, it's difficult to describe, but it generally means like of bad taste and like bad quality. Another example would be if you see a child, for example, with a Gucci bag and the child is 4 years old. Does it look great? Not really. It looks a bit tacky, in my opinion. Another one was awareness. Remember, we were talking about Singles Awareness Day. So to create awareness for something is to create, let's say, knowledge about something. And as we said in the show, normally these things are used for important diseases like cancer, AIDS and things like this. So it's a bit strange they have a Singles Awareness Day. But before I go, I listened to the show again just now and realised there were 2 other pieces of rock and roll vocabulary that I forgot to mention. So I'll just play you this thing now of what Dan says. And listen for the word fuss.
I actually hate Valentine's Day, and I hate I hate the fuss.
So when he says I hate the fuss, it means like the excitement around this day. Often people say I hate the fuss about Christmas. Everyone goes crazy and it's just not necessary. There is one more word that I would like to mention. So I'll just play you this clip from the show, which is when Dan was telling me that he had had 2 girlfriends in his life. And obviously I was quite surprised by this. So listen to the word I use in my reaction.
2.
Oh, blimey.
Oh.
That's right, blimey. Blimey is a very nice word. It's not a swear word. It's just a nice word to show surprise. So, for example, when I receive my 100 Valentine's Day cards tomorrow, because I'm a teacher, I will say, whew, blimey. That's some rock and roll English. Thanks very much for listening. Remember to go to the website so you can do the quiz with all of the vocabulary, and obviously to tell your friends about it. If you have any comments or suggestions for the show, please feel free to contact me. Okay, so thanks again for listening, and I will see you on Thursday. Goodbye.
Thanks so much for listening to Rock and Roll English. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit rockandrollenglish.com and facebook.com/rockandrollenglish. We'll catch you next time.